Hello, everyone, and welcome to another session of the Mastermind Book Club. In this session, we shall talk about a very important book called The Art of Not Overthinking, author Hamr Molde. I'd like to call on our first mastermind to give his 2 cents on whether he liked the book or not. And that is Culmer.
Hello, everyone. Yes, I extremely like the book, The Art of Not Overthinking, Echoes of Empowerment. A lot of times we don't go forth because we're stuck in our mind. The book focuses on those topics of awareness, self-control, negative thinking, and bringing a full circle where that if you if you fail to apply action to anything in life, you will be stuck where you are. And one of the things I really liked about the book that it says that these things will exhaust you. Have you ever just been tired of being tired? You didn't do anything, but you're extremely exhausted. And the book addresses some of these issues and plainly and gives you some insights as far as journaling, as far as meditation, exercise, your breathing. But we'll get all into that, and I'm sure my co-panelists will also. Thank you.
Thank you, Culmer. Our next mastermind is Reggie Hilliard.
Hold on here. Hello, everyone. So when I think about this book, I put it in the perspective of overthinking leads to you basically being in some type of prison. Because if you're overthinking, you basically become paralyzed. And there's a lot of analysis paralysis. There's a lot of, just basically trying to control something you may not have control of. There's a lot of just not being settled in a peaceful state because you're very much like frazzled and you're like worrying about the outcome. You're living in a space where you're just like, you're really having a lot of trouble there. So the journey becomes a very, very rocky journey because you're always second guessing yourself. You're always in a troubled state of mind. And not specifically that, but all of those different things. So you're really just like kind of clamoring, and kind of banging up against the wall and just really not really going anywhere and kind of running in circles. So, if you can get out of that state, obviously, it's definitely a good thing. So that's what I'll really touch on. I mean, obviously, we'll talk about more as we go forward, but really just like understanding what that means to be in a state of overthinking, where it's essentially a state where it's not a good one because you're not really getting anything done because you're doing too much of the thinking, which is not leading to any action.
Reggie Hilliard, thank you. Thank you for that. Our next mastermind is Marth Johnson.
Hello, everyone. This book is very powerful. They teach us how to control, how to free our mind, how we control our thinking. Understand how overthinking is a trap because we get worries and fears, and that's the way we're stuck. And another thing I got for this amazing book is master your emotional release, letting go your fears, your anxieties, and your angry, and find something to release as an emotional healing. Find some help. We have a lot of tools. Find the tools for emotional healing. We talk about the tools later. And another theme catch my attention is to create a new blueprints. We can reprogram our mind, our thoughts, and our thinking for new positive thinking, new emotional thinking. And another one is the gratitude. The gratitude is your answer. To practice gratitude, they can be transferred for worries to blessings to you. In the mindfulness, practice the mindfulness to quiet your mind because our mind sometimes make a lot of noise and we have to control that. and that's you have to live like with freedom, free your mind, easy and peace. And we'll talk about that one later.
Good.
And thank
Thank
you very
you.
much.
Thank you, Martha. The art of not overthinking. I just want to leave you with one quick perspective. We all, I think I'm not too far from the truth, and I could be wrong, but don't we all want to succeed? And if we do want to succeed, part of being successful is understanding failure. Failure is not the opposite of success. And this book really points to that. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of the process. It is part of the process. And because of this, I want to ask my fellow mastermind group, how are you implementing in your daily life part of this book? The art of not overthinking.
Well, I'll jump in and
Using
start off. One of the ways I'm implementing this book, I've always implemented this book, is my mindset. It's the way you really look at things. Things can come to you appearing, I guess, as disaster, or it could come appearing to you as the worst thing in the world. But if you change your mindset about it and say, well, okay, for example, my wife is leaving me. Well, maybe it's time, especially if you had a rocky relationship. Maybe you have to change your mindset instead of that this is, the end and I want to end it all to this is a new beginning. And I want to, spread my wings and experience other things with new people. So it's a mindset thing is one thing I wanted to talk about. You have to look at things with a different mindset, especially things that appear negative. So a lot of things that are negative are really a blessing in disguise.
Thank you, Chaz. Culmer.
another
Martha, go ahead.
thing, another thing is embrace. Sometimes we have things we can control and happen, and we have to embrace it and go in different directions. And don't be stuck in something is not for you. Maybe it's not for you. Maybe you have a new chapter in your life. And sometimes we stuck in something we don't deserve it, and embrace and be happy for a new chapter in your life.
Thank you. Thank you, Martha. Reggie?
So one of the big things I do, more of a recent thing, this is going through the process of understanding and growing and learning over the years, but of more recent is basically letting go and getting into the flow. So trusting that everything is going to work out and trusting that there are signs that come to you that are things that you should take heed of, especially when the signs are pointing to certain directions, certain outcomes, what have you. Just understanding like how life works and getting yourself, or in my case, getting myself out of the way. There's a book I read last year that said, "Don't believe everything you think," and it says that there are the things of thought. There's thought, and then there's thinking, and thought is the noun, and thinking is the verb. So the thought could be any number of thoughts. I can't do this. Life sucks. I'm never going anywhere, right? That's a thought. But the thinking is what will necessarily dictate where the thought goes, right? And a lot of times we tend to take a lot of these thoughts, in my case, maybe in the past, and keep thinking about it and ruminating on it or whatever, and then creating this big cloud or this big mushroom of whatever, like making a disastrous situation, which is actually not. And I think about a quote by this guy, Michel Montaigne, he was a French philosopher. He says, most of my life was filled with terrible misfortunes, most of which never happened. Again, like the thinking of, where we think, a lot of thinking, overthinking, whatever, and we make these big disasters of things that actually never come about. So for me, it's just really getting into a state of being in flow, letting go, getting into flow, and trusting that everything is happening the way it's meant to happen, not just living by that, not just hearing that statement as like a cliche, but living that example of what that means. And as I do that, I see things start to take shape, and I'm comfortable with the fact of knowing that everything's fine.
Thank you, Reggie. Now, what can you give to others in reference to what the book's message is? What can you give to others?
I said, free your mind. You have to free your mind and looking for the tools to healing you, have emotional healing. We have a lot of tools, like meditation, yoga. For myself, when I feel anxiety, actually, I don't like to take medications and going to wrong. I go into places that have a mother nature, and I relax myself and try to free my mind for negative thinking. And the food you eat is important too, because keep your body in healthy shape, and know a lot of chemicals. Chemicals affect your body and your mind too. And if you can control that, we have a professional help. You can look for a professional help, and we have a lot of tools we can use it. For me, the natural way is what I prefer for myself. And I'll give you the next to my colleagues can explain better another thing that you're thinking.
Thank you. So I do want to say this. Most people carry around excess baggage. How do you view excess baggage since we've read this book? And it mentions it in several ways.
Well, one thing of excess baggage that the books talk about is the baggage of unforgivingness. A lot of times you're going around, you're mad at friends, relatives, or whoever, and you're holding such anger and unforgivingness for this person. And the person don't even realize or remember what happened that made you so mad, that made you have all this anger, but yet you're carrying it around. You're constantly upset at what they did or didn't do in the past. And the book tells you that you need to come out of the past and really focus on the now, because that's all you have is right now. So you can give to people forgiveness, let it go, move on, take action on your own life, write your goals down, journal, make sure you're in self-control of what you want to do, clear those negative thoughts. And once again, forgive people. Let that past stuff go and let it stay in the past. Take some steps and actions. Visualize yourself being happy, visualize yourself being free, and just move forward. Move forward.
Anyone else?
Yeah. So I heard this statement. You may be done with your past, but your past may not be done with you. So like the thing where we just allow the past to hang around our necks like an albatross, but your albatross is not is a mythological creature, which, is basically like torture, that continues on in your life forever and ever and ever until you actually release it. So we get to a point of like releasing that thing that's hanging around our neck, that's pulling us down and dragging us down. And it's a clearing, it's a cathartic release, because when you have a catharsism, you basically are freeing yourself. And the only way you can get free is by releasing the things that are actually inside of you that aren't meant to be inside of you anymore. And it's kind of like there's another saying where you, like if you had anger towards someone, and it's like they say it's like drinking the poison and expecting someone else to die, right? So a lot of times we fill with so much poison and toxins that's really destroying us. And when you don't understand that, like for me, I used to say I tell people stuff, but I don't like to say that anymore. I share with people things. Some people don't realize the severity of it, and they think it's a joke, right? And they're like, whatever, that may work for you, or oh no, that's not true, or and it's like it actually is true, but you don't realize it. But you see, it starts to weigh on us And when you have that baggage and you have that ill stuff inside of you, ultimately it's going to show up as a story in your body, how your body shows to you every day in terms of how your body performs, whether you're getting sick often, whether you have aches and pains and things that come up, as well as it's going to show on your face. Like they say, there's a body, not a body, there's a book I have, which I haven't read yet. It's called The Body Keeps a Score. And that's partly the score is kept by the things that you do as relates to the negativity and the things that happen in your life that if you don't release it, it's going to show up in many ways that's not going to be beneficial to your overall health. So it's really important that we get to awareness state, that we realize these things in our lives, the baggage, the things of that nature are actually no good. And then we make it a point to have some type of clearing so we can get it out of our system so that we can get free.
Thank you, Reg. Thank you, Reg. In reference to baggage, what the book points to is, I took a few notes here. It's outside of our control. Most people want to keep carrying bags, but it's outside of our control. Now, how do you let go of it? If you do let go of it, you'll gain freedom. That's one. But these are the steps. One, accept it for what it is. It happened. And there's nothing you can do to change it, perhaps. Now, how do you realize that? The past is unchangeable. Accept it. Because carrying that bag will get heavier and heavier if you don't. And the major way to accept that is just write it down. And once you write it down and get it in writing, now you have it to a specific format and size that you can burn it. And it will continue, and you will be free of your past. If you allow it and if you believe it, then you can achieve it. One last question to our panelists. What steps, or one step, we don't need more than one because we want to make this simple, is your perspective on what the author implies here, either on baggage or on the meaning of success or on connections? What step are you willing to take for your life from here on because of this book?
For me, I want to have self-control, self-compassion, and self-kindness for myself or for anyone in that situation. Like to free your mind for overthinking, to create fears and limitations in your life. And another thing, try to be in touch with for me, the pets. The pets, they're very special. They help you with all the emotions, negative emotions. They give you love, unconditionals, and they know the pets, like cats and dogs. They know when you feel sad, when you feel angry, with something wrong with you, and either when you feel happiness. The pets helping a lot of people with the baggage and negative thinking, overthinking. Is another
Thank you.
ocean.
Yes. Thank you, Martha. Thank you. Chaz or Reggie, one thing.
I'm sorry.
I would say for me, I base it on just like lifestyle. For me, how my lifestyle is. There's a book I read called Power of Habit. So really just developing good habits. There's another book, the Atomic Habits, which I read before that. But habits will create your destiny or create your future. So I'm really intentional about the habits that I create, from everything from mindset to the things I eat, to the things I do, to the things I wear, just like all of that across the board. But as this book pertains to thing about getting through our thinking so that we can kind of get to a state of freedom, those types of things, really practices that we can have daily. So for me, it's like the habits that I put in place as how I operate as a whole, and specifically how my mind works and how my thinking works. That's going to help me to, put together the right type of steps and actions and lifestyle that gets me to the point of where I want to be in all facets and aspects of life.
Thank you, Reg.
Mm-hmm.
Chaz?
I'm gonna say, I'm quote the philosopher Marcus Aurelius. He stated that you have control over your own mind and thoughts, but you have no control of anything outside of that. You can't control the people. You can't control the situations. You can only control your thoughts. Therefore, what I'm going to focus more on is the visualization, the journaling, and then taking small steps. One of our mentors just recently said this week that if you would just take 5 minutes towards your goal or something that you're trying to accomplish, be it a task, just take 5 minutes of getting it done. Then you wouldn't overthink it. You'll be able just to go ahead on and see that it's not that bad during the 5 minutes. And if it is bad during the 5 minutes, take a break and do another 5 minutes. Breaking it down in steps. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Thank you, Chaz. So everything that the four of us have said here points to a good part of this book. And all I want to say is the art of not overthinking, isn't it just a way of gaining freedom for ourselves? And sometimes we get stuck in not thinking about ourselves, but thinking about another person. And we get stuck there. Man, if Chaz would listen to me and do XYZ, or if Reggie would listen to me, or why is Martha not picking up my phone call, and so on. Don't overthink it. If it happens, great. If it doesn't happen, it's not supposed to happen for whatever reason. Don't overthink. Gain freedom. Sometimes we just think too much. I've done it. I'm guilty. And I try and do as the 4 agreements say by Mr. Ruiz, don't overdo it. Go with the flow. Go with the current. Right? So this has been an awesome book. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for listening to our summaries. And we hope that you listen to this book as it is another empowering book. And until the next session, this is the Mastermind Book Club signing off. Take care.